Let's speak to a man who knows exactly what it's like to play at the very highest level. The wonderful Danny Murphy joins us. Danny, good evening to you.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
I was going to say live from Selhurst Park. I'm guessing you're there already. You're ready to go, yeah?
I am indeed.
What's it like there? Is it starting to fill up? Is it quite empty? Is it cold? Paint the picture for us.
It's empty, but it's busy outside, but no one in yet.
Okay.
Not too cold. No, it looks perfect condition. Pitch looks immaculate. As
they
always.
all do this time of year now, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they look great. Listen, I said on paper, this is an easy one to call, and it would have been even easier to call, of course, now, because Palace have got injuries to Eberechi, Eze, Elise's out. I think Mark Gurhey's also missing as well with that jarred knee. So, I mean, it would be one of the shocks of, I wouldn't say, the Premier League this season, but, I mean, I can't see anything other than the away win, can you?
I think that's the general opinion around here. I mean, the injuries are killing Palace, especially from a creative point of view. I think also there's not been too much chat about the absence of Decore, who's been brilliant in the middle of the park. So really, you could argue their three or four best players are missing tonight. And for Palace and teams like Palace, you start missing three or four, and you are going to struggle. And now they're in a right battle because they don't have goals in the side, really. It's easy to say from afar, and I don't think Roy will, but I'd be being a bit more pragmatic tonight and playing a bit more long, a bit more percentages, trying to fight, get the fans on board, and just try and have a good go. I mean, I see Palace a lot. They try and play out from the back with Gay and with Anderson and with Decore sitting in there and getting, as I said, who's decent and created some interest from other clubs. But I wouldn't be trying to do that tonight. I don't think they've got the players against this Chelsea side. I'd be going long, maybe up to Mateta, play Edouard alongside him, and just try and give the fans something to hang on to and play a bit more of a robust, pragmatic style to try and stay in the game.
Murph, is that not part of the problem as well, though, is that the fans don't want to watch that pragmatic football? And I'm with you. I think first and foremost, certainly with the Roy Hodgson side, they've got to be hard to beat. They're too easy to play against at the minute. But is that almost half the battle with these Palace fans? Because they're almost like, well, what exactly are we? Are we a team that's got a bit of ambition, or are we just happy to stay in the league? Can you kind of answer what they're trying to do?
Well, I think when they've got everyone fit, being well organised with the flair on the counter of Eze and Elise is fine, because you condense space, you win the ball back. You got Decore, as I keep mentioning, who's a super player in there, and they've got players who can get you up the pitch and beat people. But when you haven't got them, how do you get out? And when I say I'm conflicting things here. When I say be more pragmatic tonight, I mean stop trying to play through and be, any decent football. Like get forward and try and get some action in the opposition half so the fans can get with them. In terms of his general philosophy with Roy, I think his biggest problem is he hasn't tried to change it. So it's fine when you're playing Liverpool, City, Arsenal to stay in the game and try and nick one or get a draw. And they've done all right at times here and away from home against the big teams. But against the teams around them and below them, I think the fans wouldn't mind as much if they had a real go at those teams and went after them, on the front foot and really played a high line and tried to really win games early on instead of... Roy's philosophy, Benty, is you play the same, basically whoever you're playing against, and you trust that your system works.
We were talking about Vincent Kompany earlier on. He does that with Burnley. It's a dangerous game to play. I was going to ask you, Dan, if you think Palace are 15th at the moment on 24 points. They're 5 points from safety. 15 games they've got left to play in this Premier League season. Could they get sucked into this relegation battle?
They could. I still don't think they'll go down, though.
Why not? Because they're not bad enough, or there's three worse teams?
Probably three worse teams. I mean, I think a lot will depend on how long Eze and Elise are out for.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's huge for them. If they are out for a while, then they are going to get dragged in. But I still think because they're so well organised defensively, they'll sneak the odd draw and they'll sneak the odd win here at home. So yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. But the next few weeks without those two is going to be the biggest problem he's got at the moment is the fans have turned. And every bad spell in a game gets accentuated and the pressure builds and the players feel it. I mean, I was surprised. Well, no, I say I was surprised. It wouldn't have surprised me if he'd have gone after the Arsenal game. But then the question mark is who comes in.
Well, a lot of people spoke about Steve Cooper, Graham Potter still out there. At some point, they're going to have to move on from Roy. What he's done for Crystal Palace has been fantastic. You can't take that away from him. But at some point, they're going to have to be brave, move on from Roy, and stick with that appointment.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Roy's getting on. I wished, actually, not thought. I hoped that Roy would call it a day at the end of the season, because he came in, saved the day. They had everyone fit. They had Zaha still here. They won games. They shot up the table, and everything was fine. And he could have left at the end of that season, done his job, and everyone remembers him in a really fond way. I mean, they will probably when the dust settles anyway. But right now, he's public enemy number one, and with the Palace fans, because they want to see more front football, and he won't let the leash off. So it's a difficult one for Steve Parish, because Roy's history tells you that he'll keep him up. And if you go another way, it's a bigger risk than keeping him here.
Do you think age comes into it? Is it a young man's game?
I think it becomes an issue when you get to Roy's age, yes. Because you've got to have a huge amount of enthusiasm, energy, physicality on it. Because he does all the coaching, Roy. It's not like he sits in an ivory tower looking from afar at who's doing what. He likes to be on the pitch. And if you listen to Jurgen Klopp, I know Liverpool and Palace is different pressure, but you know, Jurgen Klopp, well, if you believe his words, which I do, he's just exhausted, and Roy's been at it longer than Jurgen. So yeah, I do think it matters, Andy. I think that it's not that you can't manage well when you're older, but I think it must get harder, and to motivate and constantly be on top of things in terms of managing individuals as well as the collective, it's hard work.
Absolutely. Smurf, on the flip side, Chelsea, obviously that result came out of nowhere against Villa. I didn't see that one happening. They were off the back of two.
I did.
Did you, yeah?
Yeah, called it.
You liar.
Did you?
Yeah, that's it. I called it on...
I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
In the kitchen?
On Jim and Simon on the Wednesday.
No, you didn't, Merv. I can tell by your voice.
I promise you. Go back and listen to the show.
What did you say the score would be?
I said I think Chelsea will get something.
Yeah, but that could be a draw, couldn't it?
Could have been, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
But no, that result there, I didn't see that coming, and certainly in the manner in which they've won that. Do you think they've turned the corner?
I don't think you could say they turned the corner after one good performance. I think the problem they've got is that they've got so many talented players. You are going to get this roller coaster of performances, and when they're all at it and they get a good start in the game and confidence is up and everyone wants the ball and it looks great. But no, I certainly wouldn't go as far as say they've turned a corner. They've got to keep producing those performances. Cole Palmer has been a revelation for them. I'm still not sure that false nine is his best position, because they've got Nkuku sitting on the bench as well. Maybe Cole Palmer go out wide where Madueke is and bring Nkuku in sooner rather than later, because you do need that you do need the goals. You do need someone to finish the chances. But that performance at least gave the fans hope, didn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, I want to get your views on the game and then we'll move on. I've got an interesting stat here. There's not been a draw in 26 meetings between the two sides since it finished goalless in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge in March 1995. So with that in mind...
0-0.
What will the score be tonight?
Do you know what, boys? You probably... You know when we spoke the other Monday when we were at Brighton Wolves? Brighton scoring God knows how many goals this season. And Wolves Wolves couldn't keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there's one thing for sure tonight. We're going to get goals. So, I mean, God knows. It wouldn't surprise me if Palace shuts up shop and they get a draw. But
that wouldn't surprise you? I would be stunned if Palace got anything out of this.
They know how to drop off and sit in if they do that. It's not beyond the realms. But I am with you, Andy. I do think Chelsea, especially after that win in midweek, will break them down eventually.
Okay, let me ask you, who needs to win more? Who does defeat hurt the most?
Defeat hurts Palace the most, because they are falling and the pressure is building and building on Roy.
Okay.
If they were to take an hiding tonight, he's in a real predicament.
Do you think he will go?
He'd have to be pushed.
What scoreline? Because we were talking about at the top of the show with David Moyes and West Ham 6, and I asked the question, what scoreline can get a manager sacked? Is there a scoreline tonight that can get Roy
4-5?
Really, 4-0 and you think he could go tomorrow?
Yeah, potentially.
Wow.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Okay. What will the score be?
0-0.
2-1.
I think there'll be goals. 2-1
2-1 Chelsea.
Chelsea. Okay.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.